look in the mirror and it's like, that's just not what I like, you know, or
Totally.
that's not how I feel. I want to restore my confidence. So it's not really about vanity. You know,
Yes.
it's not really about that. It's more about restoring confidence. Leadership is developing leaders,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're the chokehold,
Totally.
right? Like in my business, if I'm the only one that can make decisions, my business can't advance. It can only go to my bandwidth. The wonderful thing about admitting that you're the problem, hey, I'm the problem, you know, is that because you do that, now you realize where the problem is and you can solve that problem.
Yeah.
Now you have the power.
Totally.
The power is back in your hands. Most people don't have the work ethic these days. They've been too comfortable for too long. So this is a great opportunity. So those people who have that mindset of being victims, you're just hurting yourself.
Totally.
Get up out of the couch, just start moving.
In a world obsessed with appearance, there are still people who understand that real transformation begins from beneath the surface. Dr. Luis Rios is one of them, a plastic surgeon who spent decades reshaping bodies. His journey is a study in intentional growth, fitness as clarity, creativity as healing, movement as medicine, and daily practice as the antidote to chaos. This is a conversation about building confidence from the inside out, about reclaiming agency in an age of distraction, and about what becomes possible when transformation becomes a way of life. Welcome to the Alpha Renaissance with Dr. Luis Rios. You've been making people feel and look better for years, but that's not all you do.
That's right.
You really focus on the agency of the human beings that you're working with. You're not just sculpting and carving them, but you want them to connect that outer exterior to who they are authentically.
Yeah, you know, I was kind of, and actually one of your guests actually got me thinking. I had thought about it before, like, what's your mission in life? What's your mission statement? Like, what, you know, what's the why? Why are you here? What are you trying to do? And sometimes that comes from the deep pain that you have. One of my coaches, Dan Martell, you know, your purpose comes from maybe the deep pain that you've experienced in your life. Overcome it. Now you can help people. But I guess when I started putting it all together, it was all about confidence, right? The people that come to me, they're trying to restore confidence back, you know, and especially I think my main client is the mother. And we can all relate to that. Our mothers have sacrificed themselves, sacrificed their bodies, sacrificed everything for us, right? And then there comes a point where, you know, they look in the mirror and it's like, that's just not what I like, you know, or that's not how I feel. I want to restore my confidence. So it's not really about vanity, you know, it's not really about that. It's more about restoring confidence. And I think that's in my life, and we can talk about it later, when I had to like go and probe that, where was that deep pain in your life that you could help people with in the future? It was the confidence issue.
A lot of times it's that deep pain that molds us. I feel as though we live in a society that tells us, hey, if you have anxiety, you know, put a hat on and says, I have anxiety, and let people know to take it easy on you. When in fact, it's really this pressure. You need to feel life a bit. There's some depression that is just a direct feedback from what's happening in the universe that's telling you, hey, maybe you need to change how you approach things, right? Do you feel that when you interact with your patients that, you know, they're working from a really deep sense of depression and anxiety as to why they want to change, and that's led to their issues with their confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of how I approach my consultation at first, is like, you try to understand what their pain is. Why are you here? Like, what's going on, right? And then kind of explore, like, how long has that feeling been, you know, and then why now? Why now? Why? Because, you know, like, if you said it was for 2 years, okay, well, 3 years ago that wasn't bothering you. What happened 2 years ago that all of a sudden got you thinking this way, you know? And then, like, why now? Why do you want to do it now? And then eventually it's like, well, why us? Why would you come to me? What is it about your journey that you're seeking me out to help you? So I think those of us who, as we get older and are a little bit more mentorship, you know, our patients are our heroes, okay? They're like Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
We're like, you know, we're going to be like Yoda, right? We can help in the pathway. My patients have this really difficult pathway, okay? They're standing there and they want to get from here to there, and that's a scary bridge. It's going to be undergoing anesthesia, losing control, all the fear that you hear about anesthesia. And, you're in anesthesia. So you always hear that, am I going to wake up during the middle of the surgery? Yeah. Am I going to wake up afterwards?
I saw this thing on YouTube. Right. They were awake and they felt everything.
But then, they're thinking about the discomfort afterwards, right? And then how long am I going to be out, and then all the people that they're going to impose on during their recovery period. And so me as a plastic surgeon, I'm there to help them through that journey. They're the hero. I'm not the hero. I'm just the one that helps them through that journey. See you
as the hero, right? People come to you and they're like, okay, I have this issue. I'm a mom. I'm whoever. I have I'm a guy with a bad nose that I don't want anymore. And they look at you as the hero. What made you want to pursue this line of work of artistically shaping human beings?
Right. So I think there's two aspects to it. My dad was a plastic surgeon, and he was the first one in my community in South Texas. Okay. So my practice has been continuous for over 50 years.
Wow.
We even have the same name, but he never told me to do that. I was free to explore my own options, and I do the same thing with my children. So when I was in medical school, I liked pediatrics. I loved kids. I loved playing with them. But I loved surgery because it was kind of like, here's a problem, take it on and fix it, right? And then the artistry and all that other stuff, I think it's kind of funny because I kind of dive into horoscopes and numerology and stuff like that. It's so fun. Like, I'm a Pisces and I'm a 33, so more empathic, right? So if I walk through an airport and I see somebody, like I might see their nose and I'm not like sizing them up, but more I might see somebody that's walking and slumping and just not the best version of themselves. And I'm just feeling that. And I'm feeling like, wow, there's just so much. I can see the potential in people. And so I think then that just jives naturally into my job, because when they come, I can understand what they're saying, where they're trying to go, and then put my experience to help them.
That can be difficult for a lot of people in terms of how it's interpreted, right? Because I have a couple of plastic surgeon buddies, and they're always observing. They can see the smallest imperfection in everyone. And some people interpret it as, they're picky, they're judgy, they're always looking for faults. But in actuality, how you just explained it really makes a lot of sense, right? It comes from an empathy perspective where you see something, you see this person with a poor gait or some imperfection, and you want to help them.
That's right. And I think that's where, other people like Elon Musk may be like, I'm a businessman and I'm going to, take a mission to Mars and colonize Mars and go. If you're in Elon's world and you're not doing anything to help him move the cause along, he probably just he has no use for you. He can walk in a room. He's probably not reading the room too much, right? Yeah. Like he's so hyper focused on, and that's one way to go, right?
Yeah.
But I think like hopefully most plastic surgeons, or like what I do is like we're reading the room. We can read the room. I have to walk into a console and within 5 seconds understand which direction I need to know, what face I need to put on, how I need to motivate people, how I need to address them. Some people want more respectful and conservative. Some people want to have a little bit more fun during the console, so you got to read the room and all that. And so I think that just comes, I think you're probably born with that, that empath kind of thing. And it has its good and its bad. But
I think it's a lot of truth to that in terms of people, they have a certain response from reality, right? They have a certain response from their interactions with other people. And some people, you're right, they don't feel anything. And we call those people sociopaths. Sometimes. I do think that it's important to have those people in society as well, because they're focused on other things. They're not necessarily focused on people. They're focused on a business or what have you. We hope, right, in a perfect world. But having people that are able to focus on the problems that regular people have on a day-to-day basis, especially from a physical standpoint, it's just it's much needed.
Yeah. So
sure.
Like someone like Elon, his purpose and his goal is this advancement and go, and that's where he derives his energy from. And as he's accomplishing things, it's like it's fueling him, it's expanding him. So the Elon Musk that solves this problem now is the new Elon Musk that can go to the next mountaintop and solve them. And that's the same way here, you know, like as you help people, that actually helps you. It's like a boomerang. It comes back around, right? If you give money, you know, this philosophy is out there, right? Like with money, right? You make a lot of money and you just put it underneath your mattress. Are you going to make a lot more money? Probably not. And you take a risk if there's a fire or somebody finds out about your money, now it's all gone. But you're somebody that makes money and you're distributing it out to the community and you're buying services, you're helping people. All that comes back around to you, probably even more. So the more you help people and develop relationships and help them, that comes back around. You know, the less you get out of your greedy, selfish, ego, what can I get out of people, and more into helping, you develop better relationships, and then people come back around and help you even better than what you're going to get more out of life than what you're giving, you know, is what I found. And I think that's, you know, there's a lot of people, Dan Martell, Tony Robbins, all these guys talk about it. And I've experienced it in my life, because if I'm helping people with their confidence, you know, in their journey and all that, it has helped me financially. It has helped me with my career, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming, doesn't ever end. Right?
You're an empath, and I love that you say that. You care about people, you care about your patients. You've also had a father, right, who was an example, who had his practice, right? You went to Harvard, which is incredible. And then you had to take who you are and develop your own leadership style. How is it similar to your dad's style? Is it similar to what you saw at Harvard?
I think there's certain parts of him and my mother that I take. They're always very humble, always willing to take in, you know, the rancher, whoever, you know, they judge people just as people, not, you know, their status or whatever. So that staying humble and grounded, I think I took from them. Yeah. But I think I'm doing a little bit more than my dad in certain areas. And then I can tell you my son's in medical school and he's doing even more than me in certain areas. He wants to do hematology, oncology, but he's like he's just a killer research guy, which I never was. That opportunity never was there for me. So I never was able to take it. Times are so different these days. They carve out time for students to do research these days, and they didn't back in my day. And so I think that, you know, you take, so people will make these assumptions, for example, that, okay, your father was a plastic surgeon, you had the same name, that was easy for you. Hell no, it's not easy. No. You know, there's only about less than 200 plastic surgeons trained a year. So you don't just get those spots by accident. It's very, very intentional. And I'll tell you, in my day, to become a plastic surgeon, you had to be a general surgeon first, which is 5 years of training, doing something that you weren't going to do really at a heart. I call it like the Navy SEAL training, right? Like everybody that was there in general surgery had the smarts and the, you know, the ability, the smarts, the physical, but it was that mental thing. Could you hack it? You know, like all the Navy SEAL guys, I mean, they're all like fit. They all can do pull-ups. They can swim. They can run a marathon. They can do all this stuff. But what is it that gets them?
What is the part they have to hack? What part of that in the mental aspect do they have to hack? Just the drudgery of doing the same thing monotonously every day with tons of variance in the patient population, but also you're at the bottom of the totem pole. You are the nail. You're definitely not the hammer, and you have to be a nail for 5 years, and that's just general surgery. Right,
and you're just giving up your whole life for that. You know, and
everything is on hold.
And I don't want to insult general surgeons, but I think the big difference I saw between general surgery and going into plastic surgery, we loved what we did.
Yeah.
I mean, my longest case was 40 hours in the operating room. It was a great day. It was two great 2 days, you know?
Regularly tiered or regularly rate their job satisfaction as the highest.
It's super high, right? In general surgery, it was super low. A lot of pressure, a lot of stress. So it wasn't the best working environment. So just like a Navy SEAL, when you're going through that boot camp, you just got to just say, okay, I just got to get through this. Once I get through this, then I'll get what I want. And then I'll get what I want and I'll be okay. But it's that mental toughness. But you know, it prepares you, because if you run into a difficult situation in private practice, I'll have patients ask me, have you ever seen, you know, if they're having a problem, have you ever seen this before? And it's like, I mean, I don't say anything, I say, no, we're good, you know, but like in my mind, I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Like the stuff that I saw at Charity Hospital in New Orleans and in Oakland, California, and Parkland Hospital, like the things in Baylor, Bentop, the things that I saw there and had to do, and the hours and all that, like, but you have that's what the Navy SEAL training too is about, right? They put you in the most extreme situations so that the rest of life is like what you encounter is like nothing compared to that. So you have the confidence and doing that. So, yeah.
Was that where you feel like you were first exposed to leadership, or was it like during your training, or was it when you were in undergrad?
I think it was, I think I was always a leader, even so it was funny. I was the guy who could develop the plan, and then everybody else did it and got in trouble. And then I walked away, like I was I was a mastermind, right? And maybe
one of your poor friends was taking the rap, and you're like, oh man,
like, okay, that didn't work out. But I think then real leadership probably came more into the general surgery when you become a chief resident.
Yeah.
And you're in charge of a service, you're in charge of interns and residents and have to present and take that responsibility, and then moving forward. And then now, even in this stage of my life, because we'll talk about it later, probably just trying to expand my business and getting more business coaching. And I think coaching is very, very important if you want to like move forward. I've learned different leadership styles, and one of them came from a Navy SEAL, Jocko.
Oh yeah,
Jocko.
Yeah,
really? And
amazing.
He talks about leadership is developing leaders.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're the chokehold.
Totally.
Right. Like in my business, if I'm the only one that can make decisions, my business can't advance. It can only go to my bandwidth. But if I can develop other leaders and give them the responsibility and the guidance and let them make decisions and make a bunch of little leaders, then the business can just move so much quicker and so much better. And so I think those people who are micromanagers, they really hurt themselves in their own businesses.
Totally. Oftentimes it's a control issue for
So this
people.
is kind of brand new for me. And I think Dan Martell is actually writing a book on leadership that will be out in a year or two. And he keeps popping little lessons into our coaching sessions and stuff like that. And it all just kind of revolves around that. So, things I'm learning is, get the right people, get A players, right? Develop systems. I'm not a systems person. I'm a visionary. So I look at the future and look at the risks and develop plans. I can set the plan, but I don't like to do the plan to develop the systems. But you can find people that love that.
Some people are good at having vision, and some people are good at executing.
So the system that I'm using in my office now, which was great because I finally learned it and was able to like rein me in, is there's the visionary, which is usually the owner, but then the visionary needs an integrator. The integrator, then the visionary kind of comes up with the plan, and the visionary implements the plan. Right? So there's two different, and what's interesting in society, probably 4 to 10% of the population are like visionaries, will be successful entrepreneurs, right? That's probably why so many businesses fail, right?
Yeah, because they start off, they have the big dream.
They already have, but you need an integrator, but only like 1% of the population. There's more visionaries than integrators. So when you find your integrator, you got to they're gold. Right.
So, what do? You get on Indeed.com, you look for job description.
Yeah, integrator. You're going to have to develop a system for that, right? I got lucky because I had one there. And then the thing that I had to learn, which I didn't, because I don't know if you're a visionary, you take a shower and you come up with 20 ideas, and then you go back to the office, hey, let's implement these 20 things, at one time, right? And you had set your integrator and your business, in one course, and now you're telling, now let's go. It's like whiplash. They're like, what? Now we're doing this. And so I had to learn that it's okay to get those ideas, but you know what? Just get a Google Doc and put the ideas there.
God, yeah.
Right. And just leave them there. And so when you have a quarterly business plan system, you set your plan, you have your integrator, go for it.
Yeah.
And only do you change if something like, hey, this just headed off. Here's an idea. Let's get that. But it's the same vision that you're seeing, right? Don't come in and start putting new things on your team. Just stay focused. So I had to learn that because I was that guy. Hey, you know what? I got this idea today. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And you don't stay focused, and you don't accomplish what you if you can. And it was hard, but you know what? In a way, it set me free.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is my role. This is my role in the company. I'm not the integrator.
Right.
Let's just set the
plan. You don't have
have
to wear all of those hats. You can just focus on being the visionary face of the company.
Right.
and you can delegate those
You
responsibilities.
delegate
to other
all
people.
that, and then you tell people, because also the visionary has, besides having the vision, has two other important roles.
Yeah.
One is going to be to solve problems. We can solve.
Mm-hmm.
I can solve a problem. Come with me. I can solve it usually like that.
Yeah.
Or if it takes me, I'll say, come back in 2 minutes. Let me think about it. Boom.
But you need to have the bandwidth to problem solve. If your bandwidth is consumed with execution, then you're not going to problem solve.
So now it's kind of released me in a way, is like, this is my role. I'm the visionary. So now I write down my plans in the Google Docs for the next quarter. You know, let's do them for the next year. And then I'll help you solve problems. And then the last part, which is something that I just recently learned within like the last 2 years, is you are the minister of culture in your office.
Yes.
You have to be the example, right? And then once you are the example and you've gotten yourself there, right? Because it's like, if you want this beautiful girlfriend, are you the person that's going to attract that beautiful girlfriend?
Yeah.
Right? If you want that beautiful culture in the office, are you exemplifying those principles, right? So you find yourself there. Here's the culture. Now it's your job to go out there and promote that culture. And, you know, just simple examples of somebody brought donuts, you in the group chat, hey, thanks a lot. That was great.
Absolutely.
Or I had a guy in my office who last weekend set up all the Christmas ornament. Hey, that was a great job. Thanks. You're a great part of the team. That's being the minister of the culture, right? And it cuts better because it's coming from the boss, right? And so they take it better. And so it's been such a blessing to have. It was a book that I read called Traction by Gino Wickman, and he really defined these categories. And so it has really set me free to
a lot of it
what I want to do. Yeah,
it resonates. A lot of it, like especially when you talk about when you have all these ideas and like you go in the shower, you're singing in the shower. I can't even listen to music in the shower because I realize that I spend too much time in the shower, so I can cut it down by 5 or 10 minutes because my mind is just going and bing, 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 bing ideas. But then you juxtapose that when you actually you launch a company or something successful, a successful campaign occurs in the company, right? You did something right, and you feel the inertia, you feel the energy, and trying to ride it versus contain it is also a big issue, especially for visionaries, where you have to know, okay, I don't want to restrict the growth of this company, but I also want to make sure that we can systematically maintain it once we take the lid off of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where your integrator helps. And the thing that, like, because I'm reading all the time and listening to podcasts like yours.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And I even learn from your podcast.
Thank you so much. That's what it's for.
Is the whole thing for me, since I'm a visionary and I don't like the systems and processes, it's like that's where the gold is. Yeah. Right. So we're having problem recruiting. Okay, what's our recruitments? Or for example, my office manager came to me the other day about a no-show rate, and she said, well, this guy, the person didn't put their deposit down for the appointment because they had cash.
A no-show patient,
right?
Yeah.
And so she was kind of a little bit upset that they didn't, dig hard. And I said, well, first of all, do we have a system in place for taking cash? Somebody who gives us that objection, do we have a system in place? Okay, no, we don't. Let's do it. Like, let's get Cash App, let's get Venmo, let's do something. It was an opportunity, right?
Yes.
So let's not get down on that person for not having gotten the deposit. We just didn't have a system. Now, once we have a system and educate everyone, and then it still happens, and then it happens again. Now you got a people problem.
Yeah.
You don't have a system problem, right?
Yeah. People problem might determine, we might have to change people.
You got to get the A players in. That's the next thing I'm hearing. Sometimes we have this attitude of scarcity. Yeah. Like, I'm going to keep someone here because maybe I'm not going to find somebody that can, and they do a pretty good job. And if I lose them, I'm going to lose all these benefits, but then there's all these downsides.
Yeah.
And then
also you can't control what's going to happen in your employee's life, right? You have team members that are excellent. They're great. But hey, sometimes they have personal things that go on. You have to account for that. And that framing it outside of the individual and from a system standpoint helps you to say, you know what? Okay, I need to create a plan. I need to create an environment where people want to work here.
Right.
Where people want to be a part of this team more than they want to be a part of my competitor's team.
Yeah. And so that comes down to like, what are the core values in your business? What are you striving for? And, and then you got, like I said, as a visionary, I have to put that out there, right? I have to cascade that message out there to everybody. This is what we're all about. And you're right. Employees, they might go through a divorce or a parent that dies or, something. And so maybe on the core value level for one quarter, they're kind of coming down, right? But if you have those core values in place, it's an easy conversation. You just bring them in. Hey, I've just noted, you're a great worker. I really have appreciated. I've noted, and our core value. I've noticed that, you're kind of, is there something going on?
Yeah.
Is there something we can help you with? Because I know this isn't you. I know the best version of you is not this. And so I just wanted to kind of get you in here because I care about you. And I just wanted to talk to you and see what's going on. Is everything okay? Right. And the other thing is like, you might have core values in your business, and this can be in your life too.
Yeah.
Right. And just because a person, like maybe you have to dismiss someone because they're not, that doesn't mean they're a bad person.
Totally.
It just doesn't mean they align with your core values, and they might find a job somewhere else.
Also, if someone doesn't do a good job, did you give them detailed instructions?
Oh, that's that's where that whole system things. And
Totally. So
like for me, whenever I see a part of my business that's not going, it always goes to me first. Okay, what have I not done to get so again, it's always, is it a system problem, which includes me, right? And you know what the most powerful value of that is, to be able to admit, then this is the people who, this can go out to all those people out there who have the victim mentality, is the wonderful thing about admitting that you're the problem. Hey, I'm the problem, is that because you do that, now you realize where the problem is and you can solve that problem.
Yeah.
Now you have the power.
Totally.
The power is back in your hands. When you think it's the government, or
Yeah.
it's a hurricane, or it's something else.
Yeah, it's white people, it's black people, whatever you think it is.
You don't have the power, so I'm just going to sit here and watch Netflix and just feel sorry for
immigrants,
myself.
whatever you want to blame.
And I can't, I'm just stuck here. Nothing's ever going to change. So then nothing ever changes, right? So the ability to admit, so me as an owner, one of my greatest powers is to say, if our sales team isn't performing very well, okay, I didn't train them.
Totally.
Let me train them. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
Let's go to that problem. Let's focus on it and let's fix it. But take yourself as the blame first. Develop your systems. If people don't perform, well, then you sit down with them, because you got to also do metrics in business and give them metrics, like give them expectations. This is where I want you to go. This is where I think.
And the metrics help, because the more data you have, the better you will do.
Yeah.
The more information you're collecting at every point in your organization, at every point in your company, the better you can do, because you actually have objective data saying, hey, we're getting this right. Hey, actually, we're getting this wrong.
Right.
Actually, we're right there. What did we do in the other part of the company that was successful that we can implement here?
Yeah. So you're only going to, if whatever you measure, you're going to improve. If you don't measure it, you're just going to be thinking. So the thing is too, with like defining those things, I mean, you can even do this in your personal life. Like, what you could talk to your wife and say, what could I do to like give you a 10 experience?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going on this vacation to Disney World or, to the Bahamas. Honey, what could I do to give you a 10 experience? Mm-hmm. Give me some ideas, because I want to do that for you, And so you can bring those types of metrics even into your personal life, right? But like in business, when we do like design metrics, like, hey, what's our conversion rate, our lead rate? We actually sit down with those people. Hey, what do you think would be a reasonable? Let them define their metric. Mm-hmm. Now, if they go too high or they go too low, that's where you come in. Hey, let's look. You want to get up there? I know that's our ultimate goal, but let's do something reasonable that we can, and then let's step by step, so you feel the confidence. You put something too high, you can't achieve it. They're just not going to try.
They're not going to try.
But so as a leader, you want to let them have input and own it. Mm-hmm. See, that's the whole Jocko thing. Mm-hmm. Let them own it. Mm-hmm. He had this thing. It's called the MVP plan, the minimal viable plan. If his commanders would come to him and say, "Here's the plan," even though he thought he could do something better, if he thought it was 75% viable, he'd let them go with it. Because then they own it and they want to, they're going to have pride in it. He wasn't, and then he's developing the leaders. If he saw that it was less than that, he might say something like, hey, have you considered X, Y, and Z? Why don't you go and think about that and come back with me with a new plan? He didn't tell them what to do. He would just kind of point the little things out. And then usually the person, oh, yeah, you know what, I haven't. Yeah, go, take a little bit of time and come back with me and maybe take that into consideration. Let them develop the plan. Let them develop their metrics, because then it's easy to then, if they don't hit it, it's like, this is what we
discussed. You said you could do it.
And you'd go through, hey, what can we do? What kind of support? Let's try again. What support can I give you? And I always ask that question. What support can I give you? Some training, a little more social media support on a certain thing that you're trying to promote. What can I do? And let them do that. And then obviously if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out,
How do you handle giving constructive feedback, which is very difficult sometimes for visionaries?
So we call it like the sandwich technique. All right.
Tell me more about the sandwich.
You come in with something really good. Hey, you know what? I appreciate you so much in this job, and you bring all this great stuff and list it out and I love your energy, whatever, and then you say, but right in here, so there's the top of this, but right in here, I think there's some opportunities for improvement here. Yeah. And then again, if you're having a scorecard, a measurable, I think there's some opportunities to improve in here. And give me some ideas of how you think you could improve this or whatever. And then at the end, then that's the middle. And then at the end, you're like, hey, this was a great conversation. I have all the confidence. If you need something, come to me. Let's have this happen. So the next time we meet, we're on track.
So the kind of like the fluffy stuff at the top and the bottom, but the meat.
Yeah, because no one's going to listen if you just go into attack mode. They're just going to get real super defensive. You want to get their guard down. You also need to appreciate them, right?
Yeah, okay. And I often find when I'm giving constructive feedback, trying to educate, but then there's a thin line because you want to educate as to why this is important and why we should or you should care about this, right? But you want to do it in a way where you're not dumbing the content down or you're over educating people that already know. So how do you strike that balance?
So I think there's probably two ways I'd look at that. Okay. And I think AI can help in one way, which I'm exploring right now, right? Right now, first of all, maybe you didn't hire the right person, right? So
how many times do you ask yourself that question as a medpreneur?
Yeah, that's quite frequently the last 20 years, but now I'm not letting that happen anymore. Okay. So I just recently sat down with my AI technology partner who's going to help me, integrate things a little at a time. And one of the ideas I have is like right now, people just come to my front desk and leave their resumes, or we have something online on Instagram and they might leave a resume. Then my office manager has this folder of things, and like that's just a disorganized mess. So I told them, could we like design a recruitment system? For example, you have something automated online, here's the positions that are coming up or coming available, submit your resume, and then AI could actually ask them questions to see if they're an A player, B player, or C player. Yeah. And then if an A player comes out from those questions, ping, it goes to my office manager. We just got an application from an A player. Please examine this person. Instead of this folder of just a bunch of A players, B players, C players, D players, people that are going to take your organization down, AI could help automate that so it takes the pressure off of, So I think that's one thing, So if you're having to have those conversations too often, it's probably you just didn't hire correctly, right? So then who does that go back to? Goes back to you, right? Of your systems, your processes. But I think if you're, you got to have those metrics. The conversation's pretty easy once you have your core values, your metrics. Hey, here's our values. If they're doing something in the core value arena, you sit down with them. Try to get 3 examples, not just one, because they'll try to wiggle out of one. Yeah. Oh, but this is what happened there. Okay, well, let me give you this next example. Well, and then by the third example, they're like, okay, you got me. Yeah. But I think you don't come with like full force and full accusation and stuff. You just gotta hey, the numbers, like that's why everybody in the business having a number, assigning a number to everybody is so powerful.
What do you mean a number?
Okay, so like let's say, so I have the receptionist. Your numbers are the no-show rate. I need the no-show rate to be here. And here's the strategies on how to get the no-show rate to get more into conformity, right? So you own the no-show rates, and this is what we're like. And you've talked to them, like,
Yeah.
what do you think's reasonable? Here we are. Let's try to improve. Let's implement these strategies. So every person is assigned a number.
Very good. I had a guy on, Dr. Milad.
Mhm.
He's a dentist and he's a great entrepreneur. He's basically built a dental empire.
Mhm.
And one of the things that he does that is so cool is he gives his entire staff a sales class.
Yeah.
He teaches them how to sell. And it makes sense because his point is, if the receptionist picks up and someone calls and they say, hey, I need a tooth extraction, and the receptionist says, well, we only do those on Monday and Friday, you know, he's then they're just going to hang up and say, okay, bye. I'm going to call someone else.
I was going to do it on Tuesday. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he figured out, he's like, hey, no, you have to funnel them in, get them in today. Hey, say we'll stay, open later for you today or on those days or what have you, whatever the system is, but just teaching them to close the deal, having your staff where it's not just reliant again on the visionary. Right. You have systems in place where you have your entire staff on the same page to close a deal.
There's a guy, and maybe one day you can interview him. His name's Tommy Mello, and he's built this empire of garage doors, and he started with just painting garage doors. So he has A1 Garage. They're probably here in Austin, right? And things that inspire me with him is like, employ A players. So he has a recruitment system, and then the other thing that he does a lot of training. He even built a place in Phoenix when he hired, because he's all franchised. So he has to train all his technicians. So he shows in his videos where the garage doors are there. So they're showing them how to fix the garage door. They teach them how to talk to the people, the first words you say. If you're showing them something wrong in the garage door, you're on the ground kneeling, let them be above you, that's where the boss and the visionary has to come in. Is we have to provide more sales training or training in whatever. And again, going back down to systems, right? Like I'm in the middle of this. I'm behind this dental empire. Yeah. But I'm already envisioning the future of my empire. Yes. I'm trying to, learn from all these people. Like that dentist, I'm sure I can probably learn a lot from him. So I'll look forward to his podcast. Great. I think
because, okay, so two things that don't go together typically. Okay, medicine, entrepreneur, right? Doctors, nurses, dentists, pharmacists, optometrists, right? What have you? Very good in the classroom, very good at treating patients and keeping them safe. Not good at entrepreneurship.
No. Not
good. I mean, they are so diametrically opposed. One is very safe, or one is very risky. It's two completely different brains. Yeah. And so when you have clinicians that want to step into that arena, they struggle. And a lot of times there's just no desire there because I spent all this time, how many years did you spend to become a plastic surgeon? You spent how much?
16 years.
16 years. Okay. Then I'm going to go risk it all in a business that could go to crap. So they just don't go together, man. And so just to hear how you've navigated is just amazing.
Yeah. So Tony Robbins in his business mastery courses always teaches that there's the owner and the operator, right? And so the operator, literally, I'm an operator, I operate, right? Literally. An operator, if I don't operate, we don't make money, right? An owner doesn't have to be in his business to make money, right? So those of us who are clinicians, we're just hardwired to be doing our thing. We're artists. We love our craft. That's what we want to do.
We don't want to lose our skill. Yeah, we say that, right?
And that's where our good place is. That's where our passion is. It's not stepping out to be an entrepreneur, right? And then, like I told you, there's probably only 4% of people that are really in general are really hardwired to be entrepreneurs. So you can imagine that's going to be a majority of people in the medical profession. I mean, you owned an anesthesia group, right? Yeah. So I'm sure you had a lot of people that wouldn't want your job to organize all that. They're like, I'll just take the paycheck.
They're just like, tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Tell me what facility I have to go to today.
Probably most clinicians are that way, And so you see now hospitals are now buying up even plastic surgeons and they're becoming employees. They're not doing private practice as often because there's just something else and they don't teach you those skills. It's not part of, I don't even think they teach you these skills that I'm learning from these guys, like from A1. I don't think they teach you that even in business school.
No.
I don't think so. This is like a completely different thing. Managing a business, forecasting, managing people, recruiting people, social media. It's all, in the financial aspect of it. you can't get your life in balance, but you can always be in the process of balancing your life. Because as a businessman, there's going to be times you're not going to be with your family and your kids, and
sacrifice.
You sacrifice for that, but you try to balance it out a little bit. And there is no such thing as life balance.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a huge sacrifice that you have to make to make something successful. And oftentimes most people are just not. Most clinicians, they're just not down to do that. Like, they're not down to make sure, especially with a medical business. So, for example, one of your providers don't show up, you have to be the one that's going to operate. You have to find a replacement for that circulator. What about your anesthesia? Let's not forget them.
We're having problems with that.
Anesthesia is always a pain in the ass.
Well, one thing, but one thing, if you learn about a business, being an entrepreneur, and then having more of a stoic philosophy, you can't control everything that happens.
Totally.
You can just control how you react to it, right? And so if you understand things are going to happen every day, that's just part of life. Right. And so you got to build that mindset that you can handle it. And you look at it as opportunities. They're not problems, they're opportunities, right? To expand and to get better and all that, right? And so I think you go along that philosophy, and just everything that hits you every day, you just kind of you go at it knowing that that's going to be part of it, right?
Is that how you navigate that noise, that distraction, or like you have it? Because again, you set out as an entrepreneur, it's not promised that you're going to make it, right?
No.
And you don't know. And it's literally one reason why I think we're not trained on entrepreneurship. It's always changing, right? We have these different variables being added. Social media is just completely different monster, right? And you have podcasting, you have speaking engagement, all these things that have become in vogue for dreamers, right? For all these archetypes to dedicate themselves to. They don't really exist in the same format they are now. And now you have to be savvy in these arenas in order to propel the name of your business, to get it out there.
Yeah, so I think a few things there. So like one thing, as an entrepreneur, like your business is always broken. There's always parts that are broken that needs fixing. So if you just think it's going to be perfect and you're going to drive yourself crazy and pull your hair out because something fell apart that day. No, like I said, it's just an opportunity to tighten that screw up a little bit and develop that system. And then the other thing is, when you do expand and grow, what my coaches will teach me is that once you grow 50%, everything you have right now is broken and you got to redo it again, because what you have now is not going to be able to maintain that part of you that grew into the future. So I think that's something you have to keep. It's always broken.
I always say, if you ask someone, you ask an entrepreneur, how's business? And they tell you, business is great. I'm like, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And then the other thing, like what you said, is, that I think it's only 4% of businesses will get to 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So it was pretty amazing when I was in Business Mastery with Tony Robbins. He started with the audience, how many of your businesses how many of you haven't started a business yet? Some people still. How many 1 year? You stand up if your business has been for more than 10 years. Stand up if your business has been for more than. There was probably a handful of people standing to my category, right, of where it was.
Yeah.
So then I realized something whoa, maybe I was kind of down about I'm having some struggles. I'm hitting that next plateau, right? But there was whoa, wait a minute, I have something special.
Yeah, maybe you're down because that's what it took to get to that plateau.
Yeah, and then you've probably heard this too, right? Right when people quit, they were just one step away, right? You've heard all these stories, right? You were one step away from actually getting what you were trying to get. So, you that's why you need some mindset. You need some coaching to calm yourself down, calm that mind down, because there's two parts of our mind. The one that wants to be successful and go, and then the one that wants to be comfortable and watch Netflix and eat pizza every night, right?
But how do you even get to that point? Because it's difficult, even for me, and I don't know what it was. If you ask my wife, she'll say it's because I'm a man or because I'm stubborn. I was against coaching. I was against that type of personal development because I said, you know what? I'll figure it out on my own. And then I got to a point where I just couldn't propel myself anymore. And I hit a bottom and I couldn't get out of it. And then I realized, hey, actually, I do need some different framings to get to where I want to go in my life. Were you always pro coaching and open to, have someone help you, or did you develop this, or were you stubborn?
So I think it happened with Tony Robbins. And it's funny, Tony Robbins is like 4 years older than me, and we're both born on the same date, which is February 29th. So he's a Pisces.
He's a Pisces.
So he's an empath, right? Yeah. That's why he deals with people in human psychology. But it happened I was 59 years old, about to turn 60. So it's around New Year's. My birthday was going to be February 29th that year. So it was like 2 months away. So I started, I'm jogging and just thinking, like, I got to listen to some motivational stuff. Let me listen to some, because I need to change something, right? Like something's not right here. And then Tony Robbins just kept coming through. Like there was always Jocko was there, Tony was there, a bunch of people were there, right? But that one just kept going through. And so then I thought, you know what, let me go do that. And then, what I've learned from there is a few things about coaching. One is coaching can get you there quicker. So that's what you experience, right? Like, it'll get you there. They've got the blueprint. So Tony Robbins will say there, like, if you want to go there, go to the person that's there. Right. And they'll give you they'll share it with you, and then you can shortcut all years. Dan Martell talks about, reading books and all that, because sometimes that's 20 years worth of somebody's experience of how they got there. Yeah. And you're only paying like $20 max to get like a light, right? Boom. Yeah. You got that. You take it. Download. Right.
Thank you.
So then the other thing that I learned about coaching, which I kind of fell into a trap too, is I had some coaches that were trying to business coach me, but they didn't have business.
Yes.
They didn't have a business. So would you hire a personal trainer that's fat? Probably not. You want to say like, I want that guy because I want to look like that guy, or I want this coach because his business is like that. So that's where, I used Tony Robbins at first for the mindset, and it really helped me. That's what helped me develop my culture. I had to release some people from my office so they could go on to their journey and their life, but it wasn't on my train. And then, but then it was like, okay, now I'm on the business side. I've got my mindset. I've got my office culture good. I'm like, now I'm the alpha back in my office. Like I'm controlling everything. Before I was passive. And where's the business side going to come from? And that came like from Dan. I'm with Dan Martell right now.
And Dan Martell is more of a business.
Yeah,
coach,
he's
right?
He's mindset, but freaking business and social media. And it's just what, and his coaching style is like he just puts it in your face. And I mean he's not mean, but you have responsibilities. He gives us 5 daily non-negotiable things that we have to do. If you're in a group call, you want to ask a question and you're not doing them because they check on you, you can't ask a question. He holds you accountable to that and sets up things. And so I've had some one-on-ones with him and stuff. I've learned a lot from him. And I think with coaching, I think if I would have learned something from the last 2 years of coaching is that sometime, and Dan says this too, like there's coaches for seasons. Like you might have a coach, and he's even said it, within one session, I got everything that I needed. Right.
Yeah, so, I believe that. I think definitely you have, and that's part of the coaching journey. I'm very positive on coaching, but like you said, you have to be able to differentiate a good coach from a bad coach, and you have to walk it like you talk it. If you're a coach, you have to show me your life for me to believe you in order for you to become my coach. I can't take advice from people that are not living that life or have the experience.
Yeah, so I think there can then tie back into your business and your social media and how you relate to your patients, right? So if you're showing your authentic self, you're living what you're saying, and they trust you, they believe in your authenticity, then bingo, you got people who are going to come and see you and get business from you, right? So building your own personal brand, but it comes from that of like living, like if you're going to preach this, you better live it. Yeah. And so you got to find coaches that do that, and you can spot it pretty quick, right?
How has that been for you, just commoditizing what you do on a daily basis from a professional standpoint? And also you actually do talk a lot about your professional development. You're very open about this journey. It's one thing I love about you.
Right. So I think that things that you learn, and because you're doing it now with your YouTube channel, you got to be consistent.
Oof.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to just do it. And even when you don't feel like doing it, you just do it.
Yes. Systems,
right?
man.
You just got to you got to plow through and just be consistent, because like when you get to your 100th podcast, you're going to be way better than your first. You're going to look at your first podcast and go like, whoa, but you couldn't get to yourself in the 100th podcast without going through the 100th podcast, right? So like I tend to jump in the pool every morning, and I started in the summer and having little conversations, knowing that I was going to get to the cold plunge era because I love doing that. And that's where, so sometimes my haircut lady was like, I'm tired of you getting in the pool. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm all right with that. I'm just showing consistency, but just wait. Because when we get to the cold plunge, that's where the patients are going to see like this guy gets in the freaking pool before he comes to like wake up, and then he goes and works out. And then, so a lot of times I'll see, because I operate every day, Monday through Friday, and I'll walk in and they're like, oh, I saw you on your video, and I'm about to operate on them. So they really like that.
It resonates with them. They trust you.
Yeah. And so like, I'm already up like 3 hours before I see my patients. So I'm not rolling in like, where's my coffee? Oh, geez. I'm like, I walk in there and sometimes my office staff is like, what's this guy on? Because I'm like, let's go. Let's get this day started. Let's get this thing rolling, And so, that rolls into peak state, I think, is the Tony Robbins talks about being in peak state in high performance mode and stuff, because he's peak state on stage.
Peak state would be, how would you describe peak state?
It's just like that mental and the energy, like bringing, so it's like his thing is when you go on the personal development journey, his first focus is on the body. If your body, you're eating bad food, you're drinking, you're not exercising, how are you going to have the mental to like start on a personal growth, right? Journey for personal growth. And so, and I mean, I think that most people don't like to exercise.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to watch what they eat. Most people don't care what they look like and rolling out of bed. And like, I see it when I go, like, so I'm an empath. So I walk through the airport and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, look at all these men. They just have no respect for themselves. Like the way they dress, the way that look, this is your life. This is your one shot.
That's it.
This is your one shot at it.
Now is the time.
Like you're just going to let that go.
Yeah.
Like you could do everyone has so much potential. Like I did a video about, the energy and stuff. Like I forget, it was like 27 octillion atoms in your body. And like one atom can do all the energy for, an atom bomb.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all in you.
We're walking around with the energy of the sun in our body.
Yeah. And totally. Some people refuse.
Yeah.
I just ran into a new book, though, that I'm going to start, but I saw a podcast with this guy. He's a psychologist, and he said actually that to describe it, and I think it might help us a little bit, is that only like 4 to 10% of the people in the population are driven.
Yes.
It's an actual genetic hardwired thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we're always like, the next thing, what's the next thing?
Never happy, never satisfied.
Do, right? But then we're dragging people along with us on this journey and elevating them and helping them and then helping our clients or their customers or the people we have.
Oh, it's like how you have people that, people talk a lot of trash about billionaires and, I this whole eat the rich thing, right?
Yeah.
And you look back, it's like, hey, you look at the top earners are paying the most into the system.
Yeah.
It's because of the top earners that, so many people have jobs. So so what? They're obsessed with making money. It's good for all of us.
Yeah. So I think
it can be. At least.
Yeah. I think a few things with the billionaires. One thing that I think is funny is that a lot of these guys you're going to run into them probably on your podcast, right? Like you're the guy who took the photos.
Yes.
He said it. Like I skipped my midterms to go on this wonderful experience,
trip
and school is only like this. So you're going to see a lot of these guys, like, Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard,
totally,
and Dan Martell.
Zuckerberg did as
Dan
well.
Martell, I don't even think went to college, So a lot of these guys that are billionaires, some of them didn't go to college, or just weren't real successful because it doesn't equate to being a billionaire. It's something different, It's not, there's some people, they call them the sperm donor, club, right? Like their parents, whatever. But a lot of the billionaires are self-made people. And then Tony Robbins will say this, because people do criticize these guys. He says, I guarantee you, because he interviewed a lot of billionaires for a book that he wrote. He said, I guarantee you, if I took all their money away, within a year, they would be billionaires again.
Yeah.
It wasn't by luck. It's just how they're wired.
Yeah.
And they're able to organize it and do it.
How do you keep that if you're wired like that, or you want to work as though you're wired like that? How do you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, so I think part of it is probably explained in that Driven book, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's that thing. So for those of us that are on this pathway, right? It's the journey is the part, right? Like is the so if you create a vision, right, that's a better version of yourself, right? So that journey is getting you to that better version.
100%.
That better version of yourself does exist.
Yes.
And then if you reverse engineer it, you know what you need to do to get to that. You know, if it's like, if you want, I want to run a marathon in this time, well, then I reverse engineer it. Well, I got to start training, get a coach, and start doing these things and work my way up.
That exposure helps you.
And so then you get there, and then as Dan Martell says, you know, if you're not growing, you're dying. So those of us who are driven is, okay, we get there. And that's, you were talking about that on your podcast, like you get there and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, what's not? Well, those of us who are driven like that know that we need to continue to grow. And this is life. And when you die, you want to be able to say, I did everything that I could do, right? But not everyone's going to be hardwired like that. I think this next book I'm going to read is really going to help me probably put things in perspective, and maybe how to look at the 96% of people that aren't driven.
Yeah.
They're not bad people. They're the integrators. They're the people doing that, right? But the problem is, since they're the majority, this world has been set up to favor them, right? Netflix, DoorDash, things that make their life comfortable, stable, don't make them like expand their vision or whatever. And so for those of us who are driven, we can be frustrated, right? Because we want it to happen right now.
100%.
Let's happen right now. And why aren't we doing this? And why isn't the government doing that? And why is that guy doing, you know? And so maybe we need to chill a little bit and appreciate them and know what, know the world and then work with it. Yeah. Right. Because they're going to come with us on the journey. So we can't expect them to be driven.
I mean, literally the reason why I created this show, right? I'm not making any money off of it. Like it's called the Alpha Renaissance. Alphas are a small percentage of the population, right? Alphas can be anyone. It can be a person that is motivated on their health, on their business, but these are the people that push the agenda of civilization forward.
Exactly.
Okay. This podcast is not for everyone. I'll be 100% honest with you. It's not. This podcast is for people that want to push civilization forward. It's not just your little group, not just your little country, the entire experiment that we're all living in. And this, and because we have to have ourselves fine-tuned, the Renaissance is always happening. That's why it's called the Alpha Renaissance, right? Yeah. Like we're always at the cutting edge of putting humanity forward. That's what the Renaissance did. It never stopped. It's still going, and we're in it.
Now we got the biggest one with artificial intelligence.
Huge.
You know?
Huge.
So if you don't like embrace that, you know, and you're a business person, good luck in a few years.
And I like what you do. Like you're using it in your business model to help you identify candidates and ask them questions based off of their resume. How can I determine what type of, am I getting the A, the B, or the C team?
Yeah, right? I just thought of that the other day. It's like, that could really help us organize this messy system we have, right? So, you know, again, with artificial intelligence, it's funny because 6 months ago I was with Dan, and so I thought, hey, let me design this curriculum so I can be like the expert in artificial intelligence and plastic surgery. So I asked OpenAI, hey, give me all the most popular YouTube videos on plastic surgery and AI. And all of them were older men like my age who were basically saying, robots and AI aren't going to be able to operate like us because they won't touch the skin and be able to do a facelift and be able to do. And I thought, I just stopped my training there because it was like, they're missing the point.
They're missing the point.
AI is to come and make you more efficient, get a better patient experience, organize things better for your office, you know, organize things better for your patients, right? Even in safety. I mean, there's been times when I was playing around with my staff trying to get them to be leaders because they used to just come with me. Here's a picture of someone. And I would say, well, what do you think? You know? And so I said, just go to ChatGPT and ask them the question to act like a world-class plastic surgeon. Here's the issue. Give them the context. 3 weeks in surgery. This is the issue. Give me some advice. And then I said, then look at that and then pick the one that you would pick.
Totally.
And then come to me with the answer that you came, and then we'll discuss it, right? So sometimes it would come and I'd be like, oh my God, I forgot about that option in that option, because AI has the ability to have all the information of the whole world, which I don't have it in my head. I'm humble enough to say that I don't have that. So it can even affect safety.
It's insane.
So why wouldn't you incorporate this into your, you know what I'm thinking of doing, because I'm struggling with my cells, and I asked my guy and he said you could probably do it, is just because I was with my son and his fiance, and they talked about how there's studies out that patients like to get interviewed by an AI person than a doctor.
Really?
You could understand that. I mean, the doctors don't have time. They don't care. Like they're busy. So AI will just sit. So I thought, and I've already been thinking about this, have a tabletop with a nice looking person. That, hey, what are you here for? And the thing is, it'll go through, like if I have a system, it's going to hit it every single time consistently and help them get what they want, and maybe even maybe even help them apply for the finance things right then and there. They get, and do it more efficiently. And so I'm thinking like, wow, I think that could work too.
I use it all the time. I mean, I use it as a radiologist. If I need it to, you put in a line or what have you, take a picture of that chest X-ray. It doesn't see the X-ray in color, like opacity and colors. It sees that opacity in pixelation. Right. So it's looking at in the millions of pixels that is viewing. It can say, oh, well, you might not be able to detect it with your eyes, but it can in pixelation, which is powerful. And if you're against that, right, if you're a physician or you're a clinician, you're against that, hey man, hold my beer. It's coming. You're going to be replaced, not by AI, but by other clinicians that know how to utilize AI.
Yeah. Again, the arrogance of you to think that, AI has exposure to all the knowledge of the world, all the public, that you are better than that is crazy, right? And so humble yourself and then say, okay, and then just start, like Dan calls it AI first. He used to call it AI first. So I would say AI first plastic surgery, but it's like more AI empowered, right? So his thing is like, before you hire someone or do something, think about, could AI help me do this? Yes. Like, could it be done better than that? And stay lean and see if you can incorporate systems. And so there's nothing to be scared about, know. So they say that you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who's using AI to do your job. Totally. That's who you're going to lose your job to.
I mean, I didn't know anything about production, a little bit, but I used AI to help me organize everything. And I came to the conclusion at the end of the day that I would still have to hire people, and I still needed a team. I couldn't do it completely 100% on my own. But guess what? In that process, I learned a lot about every piece of equipment that's involved. If I come into a studio, I can look at the mics and see, okay, they're connecting incorrectly, whatever. All that came from that journey, that part of the journey, right? And you iterate, but AI helped with that. I mean, it increased my knowledge profoundly.
Yeah. So, and I think another, going back to that again with Dan and what I learned from him, he wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. So it's really good for those of us who are entrepreneurs and stuff. And you calculate what your office is paying you every hour, right? And then you look at the tasks. You kind of do a little journal and see, checking your emails. Is that a good use of your, you're getting paid that much an hour to check your emails. You're getting paid that much to schedule your flights, to do all this. So like what you just experienced, right? Like you were trying to do it all, right? Yeah. But maybe you needed the team. If you could invest in somebody that could do all that, then you can focus on developing your projects here, contacting leads, not looking at the equipment and all that.
But also being able to hire the right team, because now I understand it from a technical aspect, that I know what level of team player I'm high. Are they an A player, B player, a C player, right? Yeah, that's what because you started lean. It was a great book I read a long time ago called The Lean Startup. And the philosophy is actually in the title. It's a great title. Is that you try to do as much as you can of your business until you have to delegate it, until you have to take that brain power and that capacity to start solving problems. Yeah.
When you see that this is what you can do 100%, and now you're leaning over to 120%, that's when you need to get somebody else in there to pick that up and go. That's a good problem to have, though. That means your business is being successful, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So don't be frustrated. It's a good sign that things are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, we ask a question to, everyone that comes on the show, right? And for you, it's definitely on topic to what we've discussed. How do you stay focused? How do you maintain your agency in a world full of distractions?
So that's the thing, right? You got to be able to stay focused, stay away from the shiny objects, right? All the other things coming at you. And I think the main thing is this, and I think it's been through my whole life, is you put this future version of yourself that you want to get to, and then again, you reverse engineer it. Like if it's a 10-year vision, okay, what do I need to do? Where do I need to be at year 5, year 3, year 1? Okay, so if it's year 1, these are my goals for year 1 to get me to the 10-year version of myself, right? All the decisions I make today that help me move to that are good. Everything that comes that's not helping me advance that goes away. You just stay hyper focused on those things that are going to get you to there, right? And so I think it's just keeping that. I think as visionaries and entrepreneurs, we have the 30,000 foot view, right? This is, whereas other people can get side railed. Hey, the electricity just went out, and you have like, okay, just call AEP. We're gonna be cool,
right?
Like you have the vision of where it goes, and you've reversed engineer it, and this is where I need to go, and it just stays in your head, right? And then you just stay determined to do that. Then maybe those of us who we're hardwired for that. Maybe it's a genetic thing that's hardwired. It makes it easier for us because it's not hard for me. I've been doing it all my life.
Yeah. But then if you're genetically wired for things, you always find that other thing that is a blockage, right?
Hey, dude. And those things are like addictions and stuff, alcohol and gambling and all that can get you really sidetracked very easily. Because one of the things about being driven to is we're driven to get a dopamine hit.
Yes.
It's that freaking journey and accomplishing this and accomplishing that. And we're hitting those things, and it's a little temporary and just like any dopamine shift, you get there and it goes away.
Yeah.
There's a little, joy, and then it goes away. What's my next hit?
Yeah.
And so we probably are also very prone to veering off on the alcohol and all the other types of distractions, right?
100%. I mean, for me, that's why I had to have really crazy hobbies, right? I love to heli ski and kite surfing and skydiving and bungee jumping. And I didn't know why I needed those things, but I also realized that I wasn't a drug addict. So I need that excitement. I need that hit. I need to feel that you need to feel that conquering. I think most guys do. A lot of guys do.
Yeah. I think that's where my daily cold plunge and running and exercise gets you the hit.
Yeah.
It gets you the hit, and it gets you like, I just accomplished this really hard thing.
Yeah.
Everything else is probably going to be a piece of cake the rest of the day.
Routine is a dopamine addiction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like when you hit your routine, you say, hey, I hit the cold plunge. I did my sauna. I did my triathlon is that I do in the morning, right? I hit the gym. I saw my trainer. I ate great food. That's also a great dopamine hit too. It doesn't have to be extreme, right? Actually, it's probably better that your dopamine hits are things that are easily to maintain and accessible.
Yeah, and they're healthy and
it's
good, know. So I think that focus though of what you want your future self to be, right? And then the decisions that you make, try not to veer out. We're not perfect, right? We're gonna eat some dessert here and there.
Yeah. And you should.
You should.
Have a drink sometimes.
Yeah. And then come back and go, whoa, okay, that was okay. Let's not do that for another 2 weeks, So, give yourself some grace, right? Because we're human. We still have to enjoy, right, while we're here. Right?
We do. And I think there's an aspect of that helps us as well, right? Having some of the guilty pleasures of life is good for you, because if you starve yourself, sometimes that's a reward too. Say, hey, every 3 months I'm gonna go, and maybe you go to Vegas and go on a bender.
Sure. Why not?
Why not?
That's your reward.
I mean, that's your reward. Whatever you need to do. I think it's just the framing, the planning, and how you contextualize those rewards. But whatever your reward is, hey, as long as you're not hurting anyone,
that's
more power to you.
But we got to watch out for our vices, That's for sure. They're out there.
Don't go to Vegas and you celebrated your 3 months of successful entrepreneurship, Then you head to Vegas and blow it all. Then that's bad. That's a bad Vegas
That's
trip.
a whole different topic. Like everybody's relationship with money, you know.
Oh my God.
Some people just can't accumulate it and they got to give it away.
Gotta
You
give it
know,
away. Yeah.
bad relationship with money, right? Yeah.
Dang. Well, Dr. Luis Rios,
Yeah.
this has been excellent.
All right, thanks.
We'll have to do it again. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it. The time flew, actually.
Mhm.
Have quite a few other things I would love to ask you and talk about, but we'll have to do it next
Yeah,
time.
we can do it again. And look, congratulations on your podcast. I've really enjoyed the
Thank
guests.
you so
You've
much.
had some really good guests. I've learned from them. Even the youngsters,
Yeah.
you learn from some of these guys. You sometimes wish you were that smart, that young, right?
These kids, they have what they have at their fingertips. I mean, they can Google, they can YouTube anything, anybody talking about
Mhm.
anything. Now, some of it is noise,
Right.
but a lot of it is signal, right? And it's amazing. It's no better time to do anything than right now. I'm a firm believer. Like, you can do anything truly you want right now.
Yeah.
All of the information and knowledge, all of the experts are reachable.
Yeah. You know, the other thing is that at this point, like, you know, I've read these books where we go through these cycles, you know, like after World War II, you know, before World War II, the generation that went to World War II, they were thought of as like the millennials, weak people,
Yeah.
you know, but then they went to World War II and kicked some butt and came back and made a stronger America.
The greatest generation.
The greatest generation.
Yeah.
But they were actually called flappers. They were,
Interesting.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So we go through these cycles, and right now, so you have good times create weak people. We are now in the weak people time, right? But weak people create bad times. Bad times then create good people, great people. Great people create good times. So we go through the cycle. So in the business sense, this is the time because we're kind of in a little bit of a weaker area because they have not been challenged yet. So if you're somebody who's consistent, you're disciplined, you get out of the comfort zone, you can start a business and you can be successful with all the technology that you have, because most people don't have the work ethic these days. They've been too comfortable for too long. So this is a great opportunity. So those people who have that mindset of being victims, you're just hurting yourself.
Totally.
Get up out of the couch, just start moving. That's all you got to do.
I love that. You're only hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Anybody that's telling you to be a victim, get away from them.
Yeah.
You're only hurting yourself at the end of the day. You're the one that's going to be very upset at 35, at 40, at 45, when you're looking at all your other friends who decided not to be a victim and what their lives are.
Right.
I know this because I'm 40 now. So I realize I have friends that are also 40, and people chose different routes. And some people are very angry in life.
Yeah. And, you know, this is the greatest country to live in if you have ideas and want to be an entrepreneur. So take advantage of it. It's just a blessing to be born here.
Bullish on America.
Yeah.
I love America, and it's
sure.
the best country in the world. No one can tell me different.
Nah.
Okay, it's how great of a life has it given us?
Right. You know, and everyone's immigrating to us, right?
For a reason.
For a reason, right?
For a reason. It's the greatest. Anything can happen here. Anything can happen. You can literally do anything. I'm so excited to be an American. I'm so excited to wake up in America. I don't care what part of America I wake up in. And I'm a guy that's traveled. You've traveled. We've traveled. We travel all over the world, seen the world. And the conclusion that I have is that I love America.
Yes.
It's great here.
Yeah, it is a land of opportunity.
Yes.
People can come from another country and become millionaires. What could you do that in Russia? Could you do it in Mexico? Can you do it in Europe? Can't.
No.
Canada? Nope.
Nope.
No place. Just here. All right.
However you want it. If you want to do it with green hair, blue hair, gray hair, black hair, don't matter. You can you do it however you want.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Doc, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me here.
Love having you here.
All right.
Appreciate you.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Take care. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.